Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon, and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. And as always, thank you for all your support, including sharing, chatting, liking, and subscribing. Now roll that famous logo animation! Good evening and welcome back to Computerized Start Live. I'm your host, Justin D. Morgan, and I remembered to turn the dinosaur on tonight. How cool is that? And let's see here. I also just realized I meant to copy a few files to this computer before I started streaming. And it looks like I'm first going to have to wait for OneDrive to sync. Oh, how fun. How fun. Come on, OneDrive. This is a fast computer. You can sync faster. Sync faster! I guess we will greet people in the chat while OneDrive decides to catch up with the 21st century, because I didn't make something funny and ask someone if I could share something they made for OneDrive to just go, "No, dog, we're not going to do that." Well, let's see here who we have in the chat. We have Dave's Vintage Apple Tech. Hi, Dave. Dave is first. We have Thomas Armstrong. Yeep. Hi, Thomas. We have Gut Bomb. Hi, Gut Bomb. And let's see, we have Jack68K. Hi, Jack. Jack is asking about the thumbnail caption. 2 before E and before C is C+. Or is 2+. Oh, well, it was me being silly about the incorrect saying they teach you in grade school of I before E except after C, except there's a whole bunch of words that don't go C-E-I, but they go C-I-E, so, or some other letter I-E, or E-I, so anyways, that was I was being funny. 2 before E, as in apple to E, and before C, as in apple to C, which hopefully we will get to both computers tonight. So there you go. There will be no Apple II Plus during this stream unless something goes horribly wrong. Let's see, we have GeoHam. Hi, GeoHam. I might change that thumbnail so it's a little easier to understand. We have Hardware Hacker. Hi, Hardware Hacker. And I remember to update my intro and outro, so hope you noticed. GeoHam's asking, any good Prime Days deals out there? Feel free to drop those in the chat. I noticed AirTags were $65, so I was almost tempted to order another 4-pack for the even lower price. Also, I did get my plastic discs. Now I'm just trying to find my GoTech, which is on my desk somewhere. I think I did put the AirTag in backwards, but since I was going to attach this in the GoTech, in case this adhesive is so high quality it falls off, I wanted the plastic part of the AirTag to be the part that might touch electronics, not the metal side. I think it'll be fine, though. Jesse says I bought fuses on Prime Day. Hi, Jesse. Welcome. We have, let's see here, Retro Tech Chris. Hi, Chris. Welcome. We have Mega. Hi, Mega. Chris says my brain hurts. My back was hurting earlier. Then I took ibuprofen and was sitting in the recliner upstairs and watching YouTube videos, and then I realized it was 5 till. My back is better. I think It was just aggravated from where I had to put something heavy in the trash can because tomorrow's trash day. So it is feeling better, and I am still waiting for. Did I? All right, I'm still waiting for OneDrive. Come on, OneDrive. All right. Let me sort by name. Maybe. No. Ah. Oh, wait a minute. Let me make sure I'm actually signed into OneDrive on this computer. It likes to sign me out because I did. Because I had something to share, and I want to share it. Oh, sure enough, I am. I am signed out of OneDrive. No wonder it didn't sync in the past hour. Hi, Jean-Francois Paré. Welcome. Uh, Texas. I got in a fight with OneDrive once and I extremely lost. Hardware Hacker says you had no drive. Yeah, I had no. Yeah, I turned the computer on while I was getting the trash down here. In fact, I turned everything on while I was down here collecting the trash, just so that all the lights would be on and warmed up to the proper color temperature and everything like that. And because I knew I was going to do something in Photoshop while I sat in the recliner, and then, of course, OneDrive signed out, so there we go. All right, so I have... Excellent. Copy those files, and bear with me one moment. I need to paste them somewhere else for reasons. Let's see, the temp folder. Temp folder looks like a good place to put those. And, all right, we will paste those there. And then I am going to double click and make sure I know. There we go. All right. Now that I've got those files where I need them, Hardware Hacker says, I moved you to the 55-inch TV. Excellent. Mega says, you got to build a NAS someday. I actually have a NAS. It's just I put these on OneDrive so that I could also get to them from my phone in case they are really funny and someone wants me to, like, post something. So that's why I put them on OneDrive. Because, yes, my phone can get to my NAS if I'm in the house. But if I'm out of the house, then it's got to be on OneDrive. Because I'm not setting my NAS up to be accessible outside the house. Because security. Jesse says, Microsoft did a, quote, fix and wrecked GIFs. We were threatened with pitchforks. Ooh. Well, I'm going to threaten you all with this.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our favorite segment, Wheel of Regrets. Here's your host, Dustin D. Morgan.
Hey, who comes up with these titles anyway?
Yes, I'm sure I could find a way to access my NAS from outside the house, and it would be totally fine. But anyways, so we're going to get to the first item. But before we do, I placed an order on Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday morning on eBay, the place where I buy the things I'll later regret. That's why this is Wheel of Regrets. And then Gutbomb posted this to social media. Oh. Well, I guess my head's in the way, but anyways, there we go. The good old Bernie Sanders, I am once again asking for meme. To which I had to reply with the following. To which, as you can probably figure out, the first item we have in Wheel of Regrets, if I can find my mouse, is a package from Memory Masters in California. Seriously, I ordered this Tuesday morning. I can confirm they printed the postage label on Tuesday. They sent it ground advantage. And it is now right here. And you're probably wondering what it is. Actually, you're probably not wondering what it is if you put 2 and 2 together as to why I did not move the SE30 off the workbench while I was down here turning things on and taking out the trash. And that is because we have, thanks to your all's generosity during my last stream, and somehow a very fortuitous shipping experience, we have 8 4-megabyte SIMs for the SE30. Jesse says, precious memories, yes. So now, partly because I was so impressed by how quickly they came, and I wanted to make sure these worked, and hopefully not go too much here. All right, I thought we would go ahead and actually give these a try, because when eBay sellers ship items promptly, and when the Postal Service delivers items way more promptly than I expect, and I already am set up to do the testing, although, yeah, I probably could have pulled the 32 megabytes of memory out of the SE30, but, well, I figured we'd go ahead and install it and verify that it works. Hardware Hacker said mine came quickly too. Thomas Armstrong said that someone will get in trouble at USPS now. Yeah. Yeah, someone at USPS who's got a caption search set up on YouTube that's searching for ground advantage and received quickly. There's probably alarm bells going off in some data center at the USPS. Hardware Hacker says, quote, "You're making the rest of us look bad." Yeah, I know. Gutbomb was, because I asked Gutbomb if I could share his meme. So Gutbomb's the one that made the meme, and then I made the reply. Gutbomb was surprised I got it in 2 days. But as Dave says, your Raminator. Yeah, Jack says ground disadvantage. Yes, that's usually what it is. Every once in a while, they will surprise you, and I have a feeling what happened is because it was in a small package. I suspect there was probably room in a cargo container on a plane, or that was about to go on a plane, because I do know that ground advantage actually can go by air, unless it's marked as can't go by air. There actually is a special label you have to put on things that can't go by air. And I am fairly sure somewhere, if you dig on their website, you will probably find that ground advantage can go by any method, including air, if there's room on a cargo container. And I have a feeling that for whatever reason, maybe there was some spare room in a cargo container going on a plane, and the fact that it was a small padded envelope, someone managed to jam it in the cargo container. Because the thing is, if they're paying for the space on a plane, by golly, they're going to fill the container as far as they can. Because in a lot of because the thing is, they may be paying for weight, but they may also be paying for dimensional weight and or like a minimum amount for a container, because the container that goes on a plane is going to take space up in the cargo hold. So you can't put another container in the plane, or like, it's not like they can put a couple boxes because the cargo container is underweight. So I suspect the post office likes to maximize what they put in the cargo container, and that's probably how occasionally you get a ground advantage package from California to Virginia in 2 days. Just because in this case, there probably was a container. It had room, and it wouldn't surprise me when they sort ground advantage packages if small ones might actually get sorted into a bin where they can just grab some and fill a cargo container, or then put it on a truck. So Jack's asking, how does something go to Australia by ground shipping? It's going to get really wet. Yeah, let's see. Mega says the amount of packages with lithium batteries in them that didn't have the sticker on them is too high. Yeah, I'm surprised they. I'm actually surprised considering how often that does happen. Then again, it's possible that if they're going to put it on a plane, they may X-ray the package just to make sure that it's compliant. And Thomas Armstrong says it's like shipping by ground with Canada Post to Europe. Yeah, Jesse says ground advantage absolutely can go air unless it's a lithium battery or some other hazardous material. Yep. Hardware Hacker says if it goes by air, can you really call it ground though? Jack says another one to stay away from is UPS SurePost. Jesse says FedEx Dumb Post is another bad one. Yep. Mega says every time I get a package with a lithium battery in it without that sticker, I cringe. I also cringe when I get packages that I did not think had a lithium battery and do have the sticker. Because then I wonder, okay, what is the deal? This is an item that I did not think had a lithium battery, so what is the deal? All right, so I have all eight memory sticks in. I'm gonna pull up Droid Cam. So there we go. All 8 memory sticks. Nice and low profile, so those should definitely fit in the system. So there we go. And now let me set this here. If you watched my stream on Tuesday, you will probably realize this is a very familiar angle here. All right, and 3, 2, 1. Very good. Mega says, Memory Masters is the bomb. Yes, they are. Hey! Hi, Kibbs. Welcome. And thank you to Hardware Hacker. All right. Just because. All right. Cool. There we go. That will go good towards my, oh, what did I... Oh, yeah. Okay, while we wait, because I'm going to go ahead and run Snooper for a loop. Just a loop. Because I trust Memory Masters, but I at least want to make sure the RAM's going to be compatible. So let's see here. I don't have a battery installed. So we'll need to turn on 32-bit addressing and restart. All right, but we will go to... Oh, hold on. Got this Macintosh. And I'll grab my phone here. And there we go. It does see 32 megabytes of RAM, but it is in 24-bit mode right now. That's... Oh, it would help if I grab the right mouse. Sorry for the flicker. I can't do much about it. All right. I am going to get one of those CR2032 adapters to put in the battery holder. The 32-bit addressing is now on. And we restart. Hey, David, welcome. Dave says when you install the Raminator, it will boot lightning fast. Awesome. When I install a battery in the battery holder... Oh, thank you, Jack. Jack says, because you're playing with a Macintosh on a purported Apple II stream. Well, actually, the Apple IIe that we're looking at is still upstairs. But we're in Wheel of Regrets, so during Wheel of Regrets, I do reserve the right to test the items, even if it's from Memory Masters and it's not really a potential regret. But, I mean, 32 megabytes of my SE30. Yeah, I'm going to program the Raminator with the stock icon and the stock boot icon and the stock boot chime, because I don't want it to be obvious there's a Raminator in it. Oh, thank you, David. Dave Starbuck, thank you. Yeah, go ahead and you fill the tip jar up, then I always have caps to buy, but yes. Probably go towards caps first. That's and yeah, I need to edit the goal because the SE30 is working. It was for anyone that didn't see my last stream and you're wondering, wait, you got it fixed? It was Snooper Emergency Disk. That's what was broken. Snooper Emergency Disk. So yeah, if you're working on an SE30, you probably don't want to use Snooper Emergency Disk to test it, because it apparently, Snooper Emergency Disk doesn't like the SE30. Yes, David, this is my latest Windows 11 PC. It will run... It's got the super drive, so I can install it via floppy disk, and it will take so long to install that by the time it's done installing, Windows 12 will be out, and I'll have to start all over again. Thomas Armstrong says SE30 had an incompatible flux capacitor. Hi, Callan, welcome. Yeah. We're in Wheel of Regrets, if anyone's wondering. Don't worry. The Apple IIe is upstairs. If I was smart, I would have walked upstairs to get it while waiting for this to run. Oh, thanks, Kibbs. All right. Thank you, Kibbs. I appreciate that. Kibbs says, since I can now tip, I'm happy to tip. All right, and thank you. Hardware Hacker says, SED, the Snooper Emergency Disk on a Mac SE30 is hot garbage. Yes, it is. Thank you. All right. Actually, why don't I go up and grab the rest of the Apple IIe? I brought most of it downstairs. So at least it's downstairs for when we get to it. Because it looks like I'll have enough time to go grab it while this runs. So I'll be right back. You can watch the SE30 finish up this memory test. David says, Mim test, is this another Trina stream? Well, this is Snooper. Oh. I presume it passed? Because I wasn't watching it. Ah. Oh, there we go. There's the count. Well, that's annoying. The control strip was in the way. All right. Oh, yeah. There we go. I think that's... Yeah, tested 1, failure 0. All right. There we go. Yeah, if you wonder why I was being specific about Snooper Emergency Disk, is because Snooper 2.0 works fine on the SE30. So anyways, there we go. 32 megs of RAM from Memory Masters. Arrived here, even by ground advantage, in 2 days. They're located in California. I find that impressive. What that says is they promptly shipped it. All right. So, anyways, one last look. That's the 32 megabytes of RAM for the SE30. And, all right, now I can remove this off the bench. Yes, 32 megabytes is a lot of system RAM. Especially for a machine like this, but hey, it's an SE30. Back in the day, well, actually, back in the day, 32 megabytes of RAM would have been really expensive. David says no one needs more than 640K. Mega says I'm not even a Mac guy, and I know that. Yeah. Thomas Armstrong says I remember when 8K was prime. Well, that's right. I was gonna say I can tell you what's prime is the I bought some Oh, what was it? It was something that Adrian Black checked out in one of his older videos. It's like some it's I forget exactly what the name of it or what the category of chemicals is. So if you're washing your car, and I guess before you apply certain paint treatments, it's the stuff you spray on the paint to remove embedded iron in the paint. I guess that normally would come from environmental exposure. I forget there's like a fancy name for that category of chemicals. It's like yes, no, it's not trisodium phosphate. Well, I mean the chemical could be trisodium phosphate, but I'm trying to think of the name of the what they call it in the automotive finish world. It's like not, is it a reformer? Not, it doesn't sound right. You know, I'll go grab the bottle when I'm over that direction, because I don't know what's in it. Basically, Adrian Black had an IBM, or he probably still has the IBM. It's a 5150. No, it's not Bondo. It's a spray. Well, I got to get the SE off the bench and grab the next item in Wheel of Regrets. I might go grab the bottle as well. It's like a spray. You spray it on and wipe it off. There's like a fancy name for the category of product. Oh. Fallout remover. Anyways, that's what I got. What did I do with the? Hold on, I'm trying to find the stack of Wheel of Regrets stuff. Oh, there it is. It's because I have fewer items than I realized. Yeah, anyways, so Adrian Black looked at this in one of his videos. Thomas Armstrong says naval jelly is a controlled substance here. I mean, what would you do with it? Build a fleet? I probably don't want to know what you might do with it, so just ignore that question. Yeah, this is what it is. Yeah, it's iron free. It's a paint wheel and glass decontamination fallout remover. So it breaks down ferrous metallic contamination. I thought I would try it on. Hardware Hacker says, grab the bottle. Isn't it a bit early for that, Justin? John Francois says 303 maybe. No, I think the stuff you'd use before 303. I probably should get a bottle of 303 for applying after I do things. It says it's pH balanced. I haven't pulled the SDS, so. Yeah, anyways. Oh, yeah, there we go. It's an acid-free, pH-balanced paint and wheel cleaner fallout remover. It contains stuff that I can't read. So therefore, it's probably also looks like, according to some of the warnings, I should use it outside. So I'm not going to try it here right now. Anyways, Adrian, I found the video from Adrian Black. Jesse says I used that stuff for one of my more intense rebuilds. Oh, oh yeah, okay. Contains, Jack says, contains chemicals. Yeah. Anyways, Adrian Black used that in one of his older videos. I think he had a 5150 or a 5160 case with some rust on it. It did a good job of removing the rust spots from the paint, and then he put some Meguiar's product on it. Amazon still had iron-free. Amazon did not have the Meguiar's product. So anyways, this was not a Prime Day purchase. I ordered this before Prime Day. But anyways, I'll try that at some point. Jesse says, use this stuff outside. If you have a spouse, they will be mad at you if you use it indoors. Carter Hacker says, Magic Chemicals. Yeah. I will still probably use it outside because I will be mad at myself if I use it inside, it sounds like. Anyways, this next item comes to us from another eBay seller in California. So hi to all my viewers and eBay sellers in California. I opened this because I was not sure what it was. I couldn't remember what it was until I opened it. And then I was embarrassed to realize this was a purchase for an item on the channel. And yes, it is a motherboard I/O shield. Dave says, fancy rust remover. Well, we will see if it works, because the case I have is more rusted than the one Adrian was trying to clean. Anyways, so if you will remember my hideous motherboard for a hideous case that I have, I think last time I went through a collection of I/O shields that I bought. It was like a lot of 16, and I found one that fits. Well, I had found a single one on eBay that I thought might work by eyeballing it. And I figured, let's see, did I eyeball it correctly? So I first will hold it up to the shield that seems to be a match. I think I may have found the actual I/O shield for this board, because this appears to be a match. Except, of course, this isn't punched out, but if you'll remember the board, oh yeah, I've ordered caps, that's why there's a cap missing. I think I did it. I think this is the actual shield for this board. There we go. Dopaz. Oh, hi, Dopaz. Dopaz says, did you just look at listing photos until you found one that visually matched? Yeah, pretty much. It was easy. It was easy to... Okay, so I didn't just search for I/O Shield. I think I did search for ECS I/O Shield, which kind of did help narrow them down. And I think that was listed as an ECS I/O Shield. And then I looked at the ones that search found, and found the ones that had the correct ports, and then, yeah, then I just eyeballed them. Topaz says, it's the newest thing I've seen on your channel. Yes. Oh, Mega said that's the newest thing I've seen on the channel now. Yes. That is because it's for a absolutely ridiculous build. A hideous build. A build I'm going to blame on Facebook Marketplace for it kept showing me this case, and I finally had Retrotech Chris pick it up for me. And then the funny thing is, I found a second one of the case. Or we found a second one of the case at a yard sale, and it was the same guy that Chris picked the first case up from. So I actually have two of them. More to come later. Oh no, Kib says I once again can't access my PayPal. Oh no. David Starbucks says ECS, too new for Justin. Actually, they've been making boards for a while. Dave says, good job. Yeah, thank you. Hardware Hacker says, bravo. All right. Let's see here. Next item on Wheel of Regrets, and while I walk over to where it is, I'm going to go put this part of the Mauser order with the rest of it so that I don't lose it. So this next item comes to us from an eBay seller in North Carolina, or as my parents would say, North Kakalaki. I have no idea where they get that from, probably because they're just being silly. When you're trying to make your children laugh from a long car ride. So anyway, so hi to all my eBay sellers and viewers in North Carolina. We have, oh, you know this is going to be good, an Eagle Lord brand. Before you think it's the personal computer, it is not the whole computer. I think they made the box such that when the computer shop gave you your computer in the box, it was nice, but that probably dates this item. Thomas says, I poured a coffee and left it in the kitchen. Maybe you should pour yourself a second cup of coffee and bring both with you, Thomas. The case of regret. Yeah, I know. I should have... Oh, David Starbucks says, my best friend is from North Carolina. He calls it North Kakalaki as well. Anyways, yes, I love it. It's a UL and CE rated. I gotta be careful. My address is on the top. Anyways, I was browsing, or well, I have a saved search on eBay for computer cases. Actually, I have several to try to catch when computer cases get listed. I wasn't exactly looking to specifically buy yet another computer case. However, this one showed up in the saved search. It would not surprise me if it showed up in the saved search fairly soon after getting listed. And I saw it, and I pretty much bought it almost immediately. Despite the fact that I think this is one of those computer cases that if you look at it, you're going to have cuts on your fingers. And I am going to save the packing material because, oh, wow. I'm glad this only came from North Kakalaki and not South Kakalaki. Because if it had come from South Kakalaki, I think it would have been damaged in shipping. For those of you who are like, okay, Justin, stop being silly. That'd be South Carolina, the state south of North Carolina. Hi, Mike's Future Retro. Mike says, hi, my 8-bit friends. So we have this wonderful computer case, and I don't know what sold me first. The blue stripe on the front of the case, the fact that it's an AT case that is practically new, or the price. Now, while I open this up to see if the accessories are still in here, I will let you all try to guess how much I paid for this case. I will give you a clue. It was more than $1 and less than $100. Mega guesses $30. Ooh, that's a good guess. Jack says $10. That's a good guess. Mike's Future Retro says $22. Ooh, that is a really good guess, Mike. Gibbs with Retro guesses $5. Thomas Armstrong guesses $5 Canadian. It would not be the first time where I have bought something on eBay and the currency that it was listed in did not match the country it was listed in. Go figure. Jean-Francois is guessing 695 zlotys. I don't know what a zloty is. Jesse's guessing 100 pesos. I don't know what the conversion rate is. Callan guessed 20, and Callan is correct. I paid $20 plus shipping. It was like $14 and some odd cents in shipping because it was only coming from North Carolina. Thomas Armstrong says 5 Canadian is like $3.54 US dollars. Yeah. All right. $20. It has a cool blue swish on it. Not to be confused with Nike's logo or the little swish on a pair of Vans. But all right, there's only one problem with this case, and the seller did disclose it. So the pop rivet here had come off. Probably a case that was defective from the factory. So the seller did disclose this damage. I'm totally fine with that. He did tell me that he removed all the traces of the pop rivet. Actually, this case is actually nicer than I thought it would be. I was for sure this was going to be one of those razor sharp edge cases, but this actually is a fairly decent, cheap case. The edges are either rounded or they seemed like someone actually attempted to deburr them. Yeah, I can pop pop another one in. Yeah, actually did buy a rivet gun. Jesse says Eagle Lord case and Skyhawk power supply is low key great. Yeah, so it's an AT case. I'm not going to build anything in it now. It did include the feet. Oh, excellent. The seller even put the hardware in bubble wrap. And for anyone concerned that the speaker's missing, the speaker is actually not pre-installed. Probably good, because it would have probably come out of that. David Starbucks says, Skyhawk PSU, that just oozes jank. But it has a Hawk logo, yeah. Well, I mean, I might not trust it with my best AT motherboard, but I might give it a chance. Yeah, the speaker's in here, but because I'm not going to build anything with this, I'm just going to put that back in. But I'm not going to build anything with this tonight. Anyways, so a total of $35. And I'm I'm trying to decide if I want to put a 486 or a Pentium build in here, and I'm kind of leaning towards a 486. Thomas Armstrong says a Pentium MMX 233 AT motherboard. Jack says that power supply probably deserves a visual inspection. Yes, it will get its visual inspection in whatever video form that I build it in, but I just wanted to kind of show the case and inspect it. Kib says, imagine it outputs mains. I mean, I'm just waiting for a power supply that I have to fail spectacularly. Ah, Mr. Tech Gadget, Apple II Fun. Yeah, hi, Mr. Tech Gadget. We're getting to the Apple IIe as we it is the last item in Wheel of Regrets. We are still in Wheel of Regrets. So we were looking at this new old stock, though with some factory damage AT case that I paid like a total of $35 for, shipped. So anyways, David Starbucks says, opens PSU. Says, let's just pretend we didn't see that. Thomas Armstrong says, power on smoke tests are the best. Yeah. Jack68K says, Skyhawk will make a good thumbnail. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. Jack, that might. Alright. Alright, we have one more item to go before we get to the Apple IIe in Wheel of Regrets. I'm hoping that maybe Retrotech Chris might be lurking. Alright, so this next item, which I'm really not exactly sure why I bought, comes to us from an eBay seller in Wisconsin. So hi to all my eBay sellers and viewers in Wisconsin. Mr. Tech Gadget says, I totally relate with Wheel of Regrets. Why did I buy a Power Mac 8100? I totally get it. I bought a Power Mac 6100 for parts to fix my Performa 6117 CD that was given to me. So I kind of understand. Thomas Armstrong says, I have a 6100. I regret it. All right, really cool custom package. So anyways, I was searching eBay after I searched the Internet Archive, but I was searching for any information on Comtrade computers. And I did find a few mentions in Computer Shopper. I think it was Computer Shopper. A few reviews. Apparently they made decent computers. I also did find some ads that, while I did not find an ad that had the exact that I was like 100% sure was the computer that Chris bought at the swap meet and then gave to me. I'm pretty sure the Comtrade that Chris bought at the swap meet and he found had been upgraded with a Super 7 motherboard, which is why he thought of me to give it to me, because he knew I liked Super 7 motherboards. I think it was a 486 Visa local bus system before the end user presumably upgraded it. But anyways, so I found the ads. I found some reviews of some Comtrade systems. I think they were Pentium-era systems. And then I searched eBay, the place where I buy the things I later regret. And this is like one of those things, I think the seller made an offer and I went ahead and accepted it. But apparently, this is the front panel for the Pentium systems that Comtrade made that I think fits the case that I have. So I think they just basically had a different case style made, including a different power button. But yeah, I bought a Comtrade computer base panel. I guess the good thing is now I have some drive bay covers that actually fit that Comtrade case. I'm presuming it got sold as a panel because it looks like the case may have had some rust issues. But anyways, yeah, I bought a Comtrade computer base panel. But this might not be as weird as the last item in Wheel of Regrets, which leads us to one of the two main computers for this live stream. So, if you were on Dave's stream, I think it was the Sunday before last, I mentioned that I had won, and I think this happened like very, very shortly before I joined Dave's stream, but I had won an Apple IIe that I was having trouble sorting out what the deal with it was from the pictures. And anyways, all right, Firefox, that's really, really great. All right. Yes, I know. We've got notifications. Thank you. All right. Now that I think Firefox is done sending me notifications, cue another one when I least expect it. All right. So anyways, let's first look at the eBay listing, and then we're going to take a look at what was in the box. So this item comes to us from an eBay seller in Washington State. So hi to all my viewers and eBay sellers in Washington State. And without further ado, yes, we have Apple IIe motherboard in early Apple II case, low serial number. And boy, oh boy, is this thing something. So when Garth Beagle first saw these photos, he thought that this was actually a clone case because of the way the badge doesn't fit the lid. But yeah, non-enhanced case. I mean, it's got the white keyboard. I think this was the earliest Apple IIe keyboard. So, yeah, there we go. Seller, I think, posted a photo. And this is where it starts to get really interesting. Toto, I don't think that's an Apple IIe case, but it didn't dawn on me when I bought it. There's the power supply. Interesting how it has RFI written on it. We do have the MicroTech parallel card, the Dumpling GX. I haven't figured out which version of the Dumpling GX this is yet. Here we go, a picture of the inside of the Apple IIe, including, I have no idea what that is. We will have to explore that. And then some cards. Overall, everything else looks mostly normal here. All right, at least this is a Revision B motherboard. Jack says, oh no, you bought this, didn't you? Yeah, I bought this. I bought it. Oh yeah, I bought it. Super serial card. The meaning of this didn't dawn on me at the time. Yeah, Big Bad Biologist would have. Yeah, Jack says, I love jank. Yeah, Big Bad Biologist would have, if he'd realized what this was. I was trying to be tight-lipped because Jesse says, I'm super serial. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I bought this. Disc controller card. A wad of parallel cables and another parallel card. Documentation. Yeah, I bought it. Hardware Hacker says, lol. Yeah. Callan says 2+ case. Yeah. Actually, no. No, it's not a 2+ case. John Francois says the lid is very different in the back slots. Yeah. David says I can smell the regret from here. Thomas Armstrong's asking, says it's a prototype. No, it's not a prototype. No, it's not a prototype. But it's also not a 2+ case. Callan says, hopefully you didn't pay a lot of that. It was only like 132.38, and I'll tell you why I bought it. But let's see what we have here, because I might not actually be using it the way I'd expected to use it. Kib says Shelby at Tech Tangents had some super serial fun with his brother EP44 and Micronova talking. Fun watching, yeah. Mr. Tech Gadget says Steve Jobs signed prototype. I know what I got. Oh, Callan. Oh, I hope you didn't pay a lot for that muffler. Old advertisement. Okay, I got it. Thomas Armstrong says, I bet it works. Well, maybe not the MT RAM. Jesse says, Justin bought a muffler. Jack says, Steve Jobs wrote RFI on that power supply. Yeah, let's take a look at what I got, and we're going to start with the... we're going to start with the minutia, because it might give us some clues as to what's going on here. But don't worry, I have the rest of the Apple IIe. I might have to call it the Apple IIJ. J for jank. Oh, and we'll get to the meaning of that serial number label. Anyways, I took it out of the box because I brought the box inside and I set it down, and the Apple IIe in the box bumped against the hard surface I had set it on, so I was afraid that it had been poorly packed. And it was packed okay, so no damage. I wanted to make sure there wasn't any damage yesterday. So I've already removed it from the box. And as you can probably see, I have removed the lid, and there's a reason why I haven't put the lid back on, which we'll see when we get the Apple II Plus on the bench. But anyways, we have a pair of Apple paddles, which are probably, a pair is the wrong term because I think they're on the same cable. So there we go. Apple paddles. I've heard these are great. And the power cord. They're all tangled together. So we're going to set that off to the side. Yes, we have a collection of ribbon cables that are tangled together, including this one that has a modification done to it for some reason. I don't know. But yeah. But this is an Apple computer parallel printer interface. And there we go. David Starbucks says 3 meters of ribbon cable, the correct amount. Yes. So that plugs into some printer. I have a feeling this was modified for some possibly more specific printer. All right, this I believe is the cable for the Dumpling GX. And yes, I believe that quite possibly is 3 meters of ribbon cable. This was from the era when printer cables were fun. Oh, excellent. I was wondering if this would be included, because it was not in any of the photos, but I was hoping it might have been tangled. I was hoping that it might have been tangled in the cables and I just didn't see it. There we go. There's the Super Serial Cards cable. I don't have to pay $25 for a replacement. And there we go. The Apple IIe lid, in air quotes. There's a reason why I haven't put it back on. I'll give you a hint. You might not realize what that is at the moment, but that's why I haven't put it back on yet. Actually, I think I looked at that seller's other listings, and if the printer was listed, I missed the list. I missed it. Actually, they currently have nothing listed. I am looking at about the same time that they listed this computer. Unfortunately, I did miss their 2 auctions for Call Apple magazines, which one for 10 issues went for $9 plus shipping, and the other went for 15 plus shipping. It had 18 with it. Ooh, another Call Apple. Yeah, I missed a whole bunch of Call Apple magazines that went fairly cheap. Some software, an Apple II reference manual that actually went for $50, not bad. And some cassette tapes. Unfortunately, I was focused on the computer. I don't see a printer listed. Jack says it's basically a crime for the seller to leave us wondering what the cable was connected to. I know. Yeah. All right, so there's a reason why I'm going through the minutia first. I'm hoping that something here might give us a clue as to what is going on with this computer. Because this one's a good one. All right. So we have the Disk 2 floppy disk subsystem installation and operating manual. I don't think I've ever seen this manual in person. And this is pretty cool because I believe this was typeset on a typewriter or possibly or at least printed with a printer that used a font wheel, because it looks like a monospaced typewriter output. Jack says, I've never seen that manual before. I know. Thomas Armstrong says Daisy Wheel. Thank you. It's copyright July of 78, so this manual is old. Printed in USA. Yeah, it's got their Bandley Drive address on it. All right. If this hasn't been archived, I'll make sure I will put it in my pile of things to scan and archive. We have a poster from Beagle Brothers Microsoftware. Peaks, pokes, and pointers. I might actually have to frame this. This is pretty cool. In fact, I probably will frame it. I was looking for art to hang on the wall of my retro bedroom, and, well, this might just become part of the art. David says that manual was printed on an old school printing press. So that is really cool. I think I'm going to frame that. All right, we have a photocopied. This probably came with that manual. Disk 2 application note, 30th of July, 1978. Probably the things they forgot to put in that manual. Oh, let me zoom in here. The following corrections and comments. So yeah, they sent the manual to print and then had to include the errata. Dave says that's Garth's great uncle. Warning! Pin 1 must mate as shown below when connecting cable to interface card. You can permanently damage the disk drive if you attach the cable incorrectly. Yeah. Hi, Joe. Welcome. We have Joe of Joe's Computer Museum. Anyways, that's cool. David says, I was barely over 3 years old when that was printed. The slotware instruction manual. Oh, okay. I think this fell off of. For the Apple Dumpling GX. Oh, here we go. This will probably help me figure out what printer that was connected to. So this is probably what came with that Dumpling GX card, which we'll see in a moment. And it looks like whoever used this highlighted it. Jack says, I wasn't born when this was printed. Me neither. Oh, there we... Oh. No switches on my card. Ah, this must be... it must be hard set for the Mansman Tally printer. I don't know if that's a clue as to what this might have been used for. Hardware Hacker says, the GX card is making me hungry. Yeah, me too. Apple Software Bank, Contributed Programs, Volumes 1 and 2. Well, that's interesting. Oh, this must have actually gone with some of those cassette tapes they were selling. Haha, I have the instructions, but not the tapes. Thomas Armstrong says, oh, that's a daisy wheel printer, or was. Okay, here's an interesting one. Using Apple Access 2 on the Apple II Unidisc 3.5. So, wherever this computer came from, there were some pretty cool things with it. Unfortunately, no, there's no Lyron card in this computer. There might have been at some point, but there's not now. We have the 80-column text card manual for Apple IIe only. That's actually really cool. I like their, this is actually very, like, very mid-80s, or, like, early to, well, this is definitely 80s styling. That's pretty cool. Yeah, Jack says, too bad you didn't get the Unidisc. I know. Oh, there we go. Parallel printer interface card. Oh, there we go. Okay. Ah, all right. So that will tell me what the jumper block does. Okay. And you set it up for different printers. So I bet I can figure out what printer they were using that with. That's cool. All right. Super Serial Card User Manual. Awesome. And the Apple IIe Owner's Manual. Oh, wow. This was printed in full color. Neato. Jack says, lol, the Apple guide to how to wire your parallel printer cable. Yeah, I know. Very not today's Apple. Oh, wow. This is actually a really nice manual. Oh, there we go. Scientific photo. Getting down to business and pleasure. Programming, the ultimate computer skill. Oh, that photo's kind of funny. All right. So there we go. There's that's the paperwork that came with this computer. And we got the ribbon cable and the card that wasn't installed. Possible this card failed and they bought it, or they bought the Dumpling GX to replace it. And yeah, there we go. Oh, did I? Oh no, don't tell me I already misplaced my super serial. Oh, there it is. It's in there. All right. 6502 forever. All right. And now, what you all have been waiting for since I showed you the eBay listing photos. Drum roll, please. It's almost like I should probably have a content warning now. Warning! This live stream now contains things that some viewers might find objectionable, because Toto, I don't think this is an original Apple IIe. Viewer discretion is advised. Kip says 76 minutes in only. Yeah. Oh, yeah, but we had to go through what came with this, because this is going to take us a little bit to process. So, we have the Apple IIe. I'm hoping it's got the white printed keyboard, which I'm, David Starbucks says, an elegant machine from a more civilized time. Thomas Armstrong says, has a strange 80 column card. Yes. So we will pull these cards out one at a time, because I want to put them back in where they came from. But in the memory slot, Jack says very large, yeah. We have a Checkmate Technology Multi-RAM 2E. Actually, I think I had one of these. And then I sold it. And now it looks like I have another one. Yep. Silk screen chess piece, yeah. Yeah, I think that is hand drawn. I believe this has 512K on it. No, it does not have 512K on it. It's got 256K here. Oh, and then 64K here. So it's got 320K on it. Thomas Armstrong says, I have a memory card with RGB out on it. Neat. Oh, hand-drawn traces. Oh, yeah. Made in USA. They don't make them like they used to. And empty sockets. Yes, I'll have to find the manual for this. I may have actually scanned the manual when I had the last one. Or it's archived. Oh, actually. Oh, this is neat. I believe these chips here are the original chips, because those are chess pieces printed on those memory modules. Jack says it can have 768K and link to second card for a total of 1.5 megabytes. Ah, and Jack just sent me a link with the manual. Thanks, Jack. Okay, maybe I didn't scan it because I realized it was already out there. Oh yeah, there we go. So, looking at this manual. Oh, yeah. Okay, so add 64K to 768K to the Apple IIe. Uses standard 150 nanosecond RAM chips. You can even add the 64K chips from your old extended 64K card to the multi-RAM 2E. Easily user upgradable at any time with 9 memory configurations possible. 64K, 128K, 192K, 256K, 320K, 384K, 512K, 576K, and 768K. So I think basically 64K in each bank, 256K in each bank, and then 256K, 64, 64, 256, 256, 64. Yeah, and just, I guess, 64. Yeah. Cool. that is a really cool card. I do like the design with the chess pieces. And yeah, those RAMs are cool. Kind of wish they'd use dual wipe sockets, but well, hopefully this is not a card you'll have to remove and insert RAM in too much. But yeah, there we go. NEC. Cool. All right, so there we go. That was in the memory slot. Also, there is, on the edge of that card, there is paint, case paint. All right, in slot 1, we have the Dumpling GX card. Jack says, the manual says that AppleWorks supported all the RAM on this card. Pretty neat. Yep. I think on the Apple IIe, AppleWorks supports pretty much all the memory upgrade cards because I think they all used the same mapping scheme because I think the MMU handles the bank switching. There's our Super Serial card. 2. Looks like it's really clean. So that was in slot 2. And then in slot 6, we have a Disc 2 interface card. In fact, that's kind of an old card. Interestingly enough, these other 3 cards have gold contacts, but it looks like someone has soldered these. They look dull. I think someone has tinned these for some reason. And I'm actually trying to look to see if this is this even a 16 sector card? I mean, I would think it is, but there is a reason why I would have to wonder. All right, and then we've got some other things going on here. So here's one of the ROMs. Oh, I guess first, if anyone's wondering, is this enhanced? No, that's a 6502. And then there's the MMU and the IOU. And then there's the CD-ROM. But I don't know what's going on there. That is, someone's put a lift kit on that ROM. Also, I am relieved to see that the original RAM chips are Hitachi. But yeah, the CD-ROM definitely has something going on there. Harder Hacker says law lift kit. And then we've got this thing here, and I don't know what that is either. But it's connected to the joystick port. I don't know if that's maybe an auto fire thing, but the interesting thing is, it's broken, but there's a battery holder attached to it. Unfortunately, the battery holder is broken. David Starbucks says, I thought lift kits were for Jeeps. Yeah, I did too. Yeah, Thomas Armstrong says it's a clock adapter. Yeah, I suspect if I remove this ROM chip, I'm going to find that there's a, oh, what was the name of them? I suspect this is one of those real-time clocks that goes under the ROM. There we go. It's a Clock Pro. It is a Clock Pro. Now I think I'm going to now very carefully do this number. Something tells me that the battery is something tells me that the battery is potted down there. David says, who would lift the Subaru? On second thought, I'd probably try it. Yeah. Harder Hacker says me. Okay, that's probably going to be the real-time clock chip. And oh, E. Excellent. Now I know what style of clock chip that is. It's an E. So whatever they were doing with this, it was something that they wanted a real-time clock for. So we'll go ahead and put this back. So there we go. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Toto, I don't think that's a factory mod. I think someone has cut this case. Because if we look at the bottom, E style for a 2E. I think the E has to do with what pinout or address it's using. I'd have to look. Anyways, this is where it gets interesting. Because this is the serial number label on the bottom. Notice, there are no other labels on this. There's no Apple asset tags. Oh, Hardware Hacker says, oh, come on, let me have my fun. Okay, it is E-style for Apple IIe. I'm just wondering if anyone recognizes this label. So I actually, because I saw another post on one of the Apple II Facebook groups this morning that had a system that had a label that looked very much like this. I asked them, does this look like what I think it looks like? And they have someone confirmed, yes. Hardware Hacker says, I recognize it. This is the serial number label. Jack says, isn't it just an Apple II case? Yes. This pan, at least the pan is an Apple II case pan. And more specifically, this is from Apple II, serial number 2569, as in 2569. I believe from the other post, the serial number label format was used on the first 6,000 or so Apple II computers. And I have a Franken 2E that was made out of an early Apple II case. Presumably when this was worthless. So yeah, this is why I don't think this is an Apple prototype. I think this is someone took parts and put an Apple IIe together. So anyways, the case pan is Apple II. Not even Apple II Plus, but Apple II. And one of the first 6,000 at that. The back is probably also the Apple II case. The Apple II Plus also used this style case. The power supply is from an Apple II Plus. And in fact, I think someone wrote on this RFI, that's probably because this was the power supply from an RFI Apple II Plus. This is an Apple IIe keyboard, and the Facebook group was wondering how in the world it's been mounted, because this keyboard style is not... Yeah, I don't know how it's been mounted, but it's not a direct mount. Although, obviously they've opened the case because I don't think the keyboards were the same shape. Jack says, it's unfortunate that someone put a screw right through the label, I assume for a standoff. Yeah. Or, well, not a standoff, but a bolt with a nut. There's probably a standoff under it. But yeah, I think that one right there. No, it's this one right here is going through the label. But the thing is, this is a Revision B Apple IIe board. Thomas says, crazy glue. David Starbucks says, silly putty. Yeah, silly putty and prayers. Anyways, this is a Revision B Apple IIe motherboard, so whoever put this together at least knew that they wanted a Revision B motherboard for high-resolution graphics. Also, the jumper is installed on the multi-RAM board, so whatever they were doing, I believe they were using high-resolution graphics, because the jumper is installed on it. And you can't do high-resolution graphics on the Revision A motherboard. But this is not enhanced. So whatever they were doing with this, it's not an enhanced board. And I'm really not sure how they mounted the keyboard. But I'm kind of thinking we're going to find out here in a moment, because Jack says, I wonder how they ended up with an Apple IIe board. That is a great mystery. So I am, because I am quite curious how they mounted the keyboard. Jack says, was there an Apple IIe upgrade kit available? Maybe for the Apple II Plus. I believe there was an upgrade of some sort available. However, I thought Apple pretty much swapped your computer. Because the keyboard doesn't fit the opening. Because first of all, the Apple IIe keyboard doesn't fit the Apple II Plus opening. There's, I think, a few extra keys. The game port on the back's not going to fit. And I don't think Apple expected their dealers to cut the case. So I think Apple, I want to say there was an upgrade, but you basically traded your machine in, not Apple gives you an upgrade. For example, I know there was the Apple II GS upgrade for the Apple IIe For that one, the dealer got a package that had a new bottom pan because the I/O cutout is on the bottom pan of the Apple IIe. So you'd get a new motherboard and pan, and then that motherboard would let you plug in the Apple IIe keyboard and power supply. Jack says, no, I wouldn't think they would expect dealers to cut the case. Some of those upgrade kits came with new case parts. You had to send back the old parts. Yeah, I suspect that if there was an Apple IIe upgrade kit, that it probably pretty much would have... Yeah, you'd probably swap the power supply and expansion cards and then send Apple back the Hulk. Because, yeah, Jack says, no, I wouldn't think they would expect dealers to cut the case. Some of those upgrade kits came with new case parts, and you had to send back the old parts. Yeah. Yeah, even for the Apple II GS upgrade kit. Yeah, the installing dealer had to send the old parts back to Apple. Because there was no free lunch. All right, so why I am doing this... Interestingly enough, I don't know why this adapter is here, because the Apple IIe has a gamepad on the back. But maybe if we get a closer look at that, we'll figure out what that is. So I am going to take the top off so we can look at the keyboard, because I am quite curious how it's mounted. So why did I buy this Apple IIe? Well, I bought it because I have the Apple IIe from Tom Barber. The Apple IIe I bought from Tom Barber has a keyboard that is missing a number of keycaps. And not only that, but it also has a number of replaced key stems that the 3D printed key stems just are not really that great. So I looked on eBay. I know there's a seller that sells the key stems. So I was going to be able to get new, or sells key switches. So I was going to be able to buy new key switches, no problem. So that wasn't the problem. It was the replacement keycaps that were a problem, because apparently the white keyboards were only on like the first of the Apple IIe units, and then Apple switched to a keyboard that had black printing. So I was already running into the problem that it was going to spend a fortune on replacement keys if I could find them all. So that's when I also started looking for replacement, just like whole keyboards. And if you'll remember, I bought a replacement keyboard, but it had the wrong style font on it. Hardware Hacker says Mac Effects. I was trying to restore it to a more of a factory appearance, because Mac Effects only has the clear keyboard in stock, and I don't really want the clear keyboard. Well, that was my original plan, Jack. Yes, so I bought this thing for parts. Because when I placed the bid, I didn't realize what this thing was. It didn't dawn on me that this was a Franken-Apple. I saw it had one of the original keyboards, and I placed a bid for $88 and won it. And I was totally ready to take the keyboard and probably sell the other parts, because it didn't dawn on me what this was. Now that I know what this is, I'm really not sure okay, the little hairball is gone. It's actually fairly clean inside. I don't know that I'm going to take its keyboard. So there's the keyboard. And it kind of looks like they just... Oh. Well, that's a little worrying. Oh, I think the solder mask just come off of it. Okay, I don't think the traces are broken. I think... I didn't think an Apple IIe keyboard fit the standoffs from what the Facebook group was saying, but there certainly appear to be standoffs there. Someone has obviously cut the case. Huh. I might have to go grab the other Apple IIe that I have that's of the same case design and see if I can see how its keyboard's mounted, because the thing is, I think this is the Apple II's case top, because right there's the two-sided tape residue from an RF modulator. Because right there's where the ports were. That's where the super mod was mounted. Sure as day, that was an RF modulator mounted there. I think this is an Apple II case top, but I was under the impression an Apple IIe keyboard did not fit the mounts, unless those screws are going into not the original plastic, but something that's been glued onto it, which is always possible. But someone has done a quite impressive job. Because that cut, whatever they cut on this to mod it to fit the keyboard, is so clean that I didn't realize that the case had been cut in the eBay photos. I mean, okay, maybe I could have told you that something looks a bit off there. Because, yeah, that looks a bit off. But that looks... I mean, there's a little waviness there right beside the delete key. But, man, whoever cut this did a really good job. It is... That is how I managed to buy this, not realizing what I had, and now I probably won't, I probably won't actually use it for parts. I'll probably hold on to it as is, honestly. Oh, I guess the other thing I need to do is check the power supply. Alright, I guess let's take this power supply out and inspect it, because there's probably reefa caps inside of it. Although, for all I know, someone modified it back in the day, and it no longer has reefa caps in it. Okay, at least there's one good thing. about this being an Apple II Plus power supply is there's screws in the side of it, not rivets, so this will be easy to open and inspect. So anyways, this is, and then we'll power it up. David says, Justin reads our convo and then says, let's take out this power supply. Yeah, I can't top your comments about wanting to go to a VCF, but you're averse to flying and that you hate printers as much as you hate flying, or at least that's the gist that I've gotten from the comments. Unfortunately, I think you just missed VCF Southeast, which is actually, I think, run in conjunction with a Comic-Con. Okay, look, last week I powered up a computer and it went blah. We're not doing that again because that stunk. And it wasn't even a reefa cap. It was some knockoff. Someone's been in here before. There's a screw missing. Jack says, wait, I missed Justin blowing up a reefa on stream. No, it wasn't a reefa cap that went. It was a electrolytic cap. Yeah, it was an Atari cap. Oh, actually, the reason why we didn't look at the Atari tonight is, oh, there are rivets in this power supply. Oh, I'm going to have to... Oh, David says, oh, I hate printers as much as I hate New Jersey. Oh, he says, I love flying, but I've almost died 3 times on commercial flights in my life, so... Oh, okay. Well, then I would recommend not flying. If I ever do fly commercially, I hope Captain Steve is the pilot. Or Captain Steve is the pilot. If you know, you'll know. Yeah, if you've seen any of his videos, you just immediately recognize which YouTuber I'm talking about. All right, so let's see here. We got to get rid of these rivets. Steve from... Harder Hacker says from Mac84, Steve. No, Captain Steve. Captain ST, I think he spells his YouTube channel with like 3 E's. STEEEVE. If I ever fly commercially, I want him to be the pilot, because yeah, he's cool. All right, because there are rivets in that power supply, and... Oh, David says, I'm just that guy. One flight, lost cabin pressure, blew out eardrums. Next flight, belly landing. Oh. A few years later, plane almost flipped landing in ice and snow. You're done. Yeah, I'd be done too. I would have probably been done after the first 2 flights. If they... Am I reading that right, that those were back-to-back? Yeah, I would have been done after the second one. Thomas Armstrong says, test by fire. I say no. I want to get these reefas out. And David says I'm not that smart. Capcom says, I'm back. I got distracted by trying to fix my 575. Come on. You know, I should get one of those rivet remover. In fact, I probably have one. I just don't know where it is. All right, here's what we're going to do with this power supply. I am going to put the screws back in it, and then I am going to go grab another power supply, and we'll test the Apple IIe with it. Because there is something about this power supply that is unnerving me, and I don't feel like trying to remove these these rivets in a way that is going to make so many little pieces of metal that I risk shorting something out. I will make a video on this where I give it a teardown. The other reason why I'm going to go grab another power supply is there is something that I am a bit concerned about. There's like a rust spot on the outside of this power supply, and it looks like there's evidence of liquid. Oh, that's cool. There's a little Apple stamp on it. Probably their quality control mark or something. Anyways, so I am not going to risk this power supply without inspecting it. Because I don't know what's up. But something's odd. Jack says, leaking cap juice. Jesse says, I spent way too much time troubleshooting non-replaceable power supplies today. Ugh. Well, I know this one is very replaceable. And all right. So there's that. Let me go grab another power supply. In fact, it'll probably be an Apple IIe power supply. Unlike the one that came in this Apple IIe, this one has been recapped. And more importantly, de-reefed. And I also know that it has not had any water in it. So, I don't have to worry about this interesting machine getting damaged. Alright, so there we go. I got the video cable plugged in, power supply is plugged in, power supply has power. Alright, smoke test in 3, 2, 1. And we have a beep. And I gotta switch the input on this scaler. So I don't know what it's doing, just like you don't know what it's doing until I can manage to figure out where the button is. There's the button. Did I press the button? Oh! Hey, there we go. I pressed the button. The button I pressed. And I don't have the keyboard plugged in, so hold please. Uh-oh. hope that's the right way that this keyboard plugs in, because... Alright. Alright, let's try again. 3, 2, 1. Oh, I have the disk card in, so it's probably trying to boot from a disk. So let's hit Control Reset. And hey, 10, print, Print. Oh, 10, because I think you have to have it in all caps. Print. It. It's alive. Twenty. Go to 10. Run. David Starbucks says, from what I know about Apple IIs is that they just work. Yeah. Hardware Hacker says, how appropriate for a Frankenstein Apple IIe. Yeah, I did that on purpose. 30 end, yeah. Jack says, that's some fancy computing there. So, there we go. It's alive. And I guess we could, all right, let's do one last thing, and then we'll take a look at the Apple IIc. Now, for this, I'm going to have to find 2 items. All right, one of which, luckily, is on my bench. So, the box of 5¼ inch floppy disks. And the other item, let me go find a floppy drive. Jesse says, Johnny 5 is alive. David Starbucks says, no disassemble. Hardware Hacker says, I was watching that earlier. David says, why does It's Alive remind me of Weird Science? All right, let me go find a floppy drive. An actual floppy drive appropriate for this controller. All right, so that we can test as much as we can for what came with the system, I have grabbed my disk 2. And I'm carefully plugging in the cable. There we go. And actually, make things easier, I'm going to I know that looks wrong, and there's a reason, and that's because I don't know how you get the lid on with the RAM expansion card in, because the fit is so tight it scrapes paint. And now you know why there's beige paint on the edge of the memory card. It's because it's from the case top. Alright, so MECC Computer Inspector in the disk 2. Close the door. Alright, and here we go. As I can find the power switch. Right there it is. 3, 2, 1. Oh, hold on. Power supply moved because it's not screwed in. 3, 2, 1. Oh. Well, that's weird. Hold, please. Let's try that again without the disk drive. Okay, it worked with the disk drive. Or without the disk drive. Something tells me the disk controller card. Alright, let me double check. No, I know I've got the floppy cable plugged in correctly. No, I don't. It goes in, oh, did I just do a dumb? I might have just done a dumb. Okay, something tells me that my floppy drive is... X says, you didn't plug in the floppy cable wrong, did you? I have a feeling I did. And while I didn't hear anything go pop, Hardware Hacker says it happens to the best of us. Yeah. I don't know what I did, Thomas. It didn't power on with the card plugged in. It acted like it was shorted. I probably did pop something. Apple made the wise decision to not label pin 1 on the cable at all. I think you have to remember to pay attention to the little arrow. Alright, I guess we can try it again, because if I popped it, I popped it, and... But maybe I didn't, and we're fine? I don't know. Alright. Alright. I guess 3, 2, 1. Oh, hold on. 3, 2, 1. Oh, Actually, no, I did not apparently do any lasting damage somehow. But I totally did have it in backwards. Maybe I powered it off before it caused damage. There we go. Machine identification, Apple IIe, 128K of memory. Because it's counting memory on the extended 80 column card. Let's see here. RAM memory test. Why not? David Starbuck says the world was better when it was run on TTL logic. Oh yeah, you can totally fix the. I mean, if I had popped a chip, I could have totally fixed it. Yeah, there we go. Harder Hacker says Trino would be so proud. Oh, you know, I could Oh, well, I could test the paddles, but that would require unplugging the mystery card. Hey, there we go. It's I mean, it's alive. And all right, so I guess last but not least, we're not going to play the game. I just want to see it boot. It's an Apple IIe in an Apple II case with an Apple II Plus power supply. I don't have Choplifter on a floppy disk. Also, it would appear as if okay, I don't know what's up. It is very unhappy with my Oregon Trail disk. Well, something's created a. Alright, I may need to get another copy of Oregon Trail. Dave says, I use a red Sharpie to mark pin 1 on cable and socket. Yes, I should do that too, but I haven't, and Apple should have done it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Apple should have done it. I shouldn't have to do it for Apple. They should have a repair extension program to mark pin 1 on the disk 2 for you. Not being silly. Alright, anyways, it's the Apple IIe of. Yeah, Harder Hacker says, coulda, woulda, shouldn't. Coulda, woulda. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, but didn't. Yeah, exactly. Alright, so we got the Apple IIe And yeah, it looks like I won't be using it for parts. So I guess the maybe I'll fix the. Oh wait, that's why I was afraid. I'll fix the my other Apple IIe some other way. I don't know. Maybe someone out there has a spare keyboard with the white keycaps on it. Even though I think this is the rarer of the keyboards, and who knows? Maybe someday someone will donate one to the channel, and I'll be able to fix that Apple IIe that has a smashed up, bashed up keyboard. I know I could get a MacFX keyboard, but I don't. I don't want the clear keyboard. I'm sorry. I think putting RGB in an Apple IIe is just going a little bit too far. And for a moment, I thought you, Thomas, I thought you said they drive my COD nuts, and or CDO nuts, or yeah, OCD. Yep. Okay. I'm just going to set this aside. I'll put the screws in later because nothing says. We don't have time to recap the Atari ST. And besides, while I did say my console 5 order came in, which it did today, my Mauser order has not arrived. And that I'm a bit disappointed in because I think I've got to blame UPS on it because it looks like UPS was awfully late in picking up packages from Mauser on Tuesday. Because it seems like they picked up Mauser's Tuesday packages at 4 a.m. on Wednesday. Needless to say, I mean, Mauser upgraded the order to 2-day air, but, well, needless to say that picking it up at 4 a.m., it's already missed the plane to wherever, so yeah, it will be delivered tomorrow. I don't want... Oh, also there's another problem. The MacFX keyboard. The other problem is the MacFX keyboard. There's two different styles depending on whether or not your Apple IIe has the white keycaps, and they're out of stock of the version for the cases with the white keycaps. So even if I did want to order a MacFX clear keyboard with RGB lights, I can't because they don't have the style for the case that I have. So, and I'm not exactly sure what you all are. David says, I'm so OCD, I spell it CDO. Yeah. Jesse says, say no to RGB. I mean, the clear case has its appeals. It'd be nice to see what's in an Apple IIe without having to open it, but. Alright, so we got the Apple IIc on the bench. This was a previous potential regret, although it still could be a regret. So first, let's just make sure it actually. All right. There we go. So we do get to a basic prompt. I do want to do something here. All right, so let's see here. I want to do a print peak 64447. And all right, so at least one thing's good. Oh, Jesse says, clear case all day. I'm just not a fan of RGB. David's made a comment here. RGB is fun unless you have to fix it for your 10-year-old nephew. Ask me how I know. Please don't, lol. Okay, I won't ask because I think I've pretty much figured out. All right, so first up, the eBay seller said this had a ROM version 4 in it. And I can confirm it has a ROM version 4 in it. When you the ROM version is stored at that memory address. And 4 is ROM 4. So oh. And that's the last time we looked at this machine, I couldn't find my box of discs, so we might have done the ROM test, but I wasn't able to run Computer Inspector. So the thing is, we're about to see what mysteries this machine might have that at least Computer Inspector might show us. I'm not expecting this to have any bonus items in it, but here we go. Okay, that looks all standard. All right. It would appear as if this probably is just a stock Apple IIc with ROM 4. Now we'll let that run a few times. But the cool thing is the floppy drive works. Oh, I believe I bought this from eBay seller SadMac. No relation to SadMac 356, I've asked. I think this eBay seller probably did lubricate the floppy drive. So, probably why the floppy drive is working. Or, well, let's see if it does. So, I think I've got a blank disk in here. Here we go. All right, so insert a blank or used disk in. All right. Okay. So the drive speed is. Capcom says I bought from that seller before, and I also asked SadMac, and they said, yep. Not bad. Oh, hi, George. Welcome. Okay, so floppy drive speed is 1 RPM under the recommended, so I'm going to not do anything. All right, general operation. All right. So I think it's writing to the disk. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. Whoop. Let me put the computer inspector disk back in. So the disk drive appears to be working. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Now let's do the test that really matters. All right, we're not going to play the game, but I'm at least going to see if it maybe loads. Yeah, the video signal looks really good, and this is just going composite video to my scaler. I'm not doing the scaler's upscaling it, but there's no like RGB to HDMI or anything in the path. So we're going to travel the trail. We're going to be a banker from Boston. I'm just trying to get to the point where it'll actually play some music. How many frames per second am I getting in Oregon Trail? David Starbucks says Joseph Smith would be so proud. We are going to leave in July because that seems like the worst possible choice. Let's see, what item would we like to buy? Oxen. Redundancy. I think we want 6 yoke. We'll buy all the food. Clothing. Let's see here. 2 sets per person. They'll probably just get stolen, so why not? Ammunition. This is Merca, so how about we'll get a baker's dozen? And spare parts. Let's see here. I think we can get 3 of each. David Starbucks says, fun fact, I was born in Independence, Missouri. Jack says, if you squint, Matt looks a bit like Steve. I don't think we have enough oxen. Yeah, let's, I don't remember how many I bought. 3 yoke, oh, I guess I did. Okay. That's more like it. There we go. Oh, the volume knob may need to be adjusted on this. David says if he were Steve, he would be selling image writers. I think the potentiometer might need cleaned a little bit. All right, so let's see here. We'll continue on the trail. Jack says, spare image writers are good boat anchors and can be used to fix broken axles on your wagon. Uh-oh. Oh, looky there. We've got another set of clothing and more ammunition. Very little water, despite the fact we're about to come up on a river. E has a snake bite. That could be a problem. David says, but they will not prevent dysentery. Jack says, in a pinch, you could chuck them at bison while hunting. No, we're not going to look around. We don't have time for that. This isn't a sightseeing tour. We must cross the river. Is currently 600 feet across and 1 feet deep in the middle. We're going to just attempt to ford this river. We would Chevy or Dodge it across, but the wagon seems to always be braking, so it probably is a Ford. D has a fever. Yeah, I gave him really creative names. Oh no! We've had our first casualty already. Maybe I shouldn't have left in July. But it felt so appropriate, because it is July. Jesse says, an image writer probably would have been an improvement over that strut I replaced 3 months ago. Let's see. 2.7 feet deep in the middle. I think we can ford the river again. That doesn't seem too deep. Yeah, I'd like to dodge the river, but the game won't let me. Your supplies got wet, lose a day. Well, we made it across otherwise. I'm not sure we're going to get to the second floppy disk at this rate. Yes. This is the pepperoni and cheese test. All right. We are full sending. Oh, our health is fair. That's interesting. No, we don't have time to look around. Yeah, we probably should rest, but we did kind of leave kind of late. We need to make sure we get to Oregon before winter. Sure, let's look around. Look, it's a rock. All right, let's continue on the trail. Oh, I know why the health's good. I'm not making him go a strenuous pace with meager rations. Well, we just lost the trail. Oh, we did make it to disc 2. That's interesting. Jesse says, no smoke, not a real chimney. I know. Oh no, C has dysentery. One of the oxen is injured. Well, I'm sure we'll be fine. We have like how many, 9 yoke of oxen. Oh, we found wild fruit. That's wonderful. We found more wild fruit. That's awesome. We don't have time to look at rocks. We have rocks at home. David says, eat the sick oxen. B is lost. Lose 5 days. Wonderful. Very little water. Bad water. What about all that wild fruit we found? Very little water. D has dysentery. Great. No, we don't want to look around. We're just trying to make sure this computer works. We'd probably better head to the fort. And Jesse says, every farmer will give you all the rocks. Yeah. We're going to buy some supplies at the fort. All right. We don't want to look around, but, oh. Whoops. Maybe I should have told it we want to look around. Well, if anything, we're going to show up in Oregon with plenty of ammunition. Might be the only thing we show up with at this rate. All right, we will look around. Because apparently that's the only way to get the check supplies. All right. We have 18 oxen still, 11 sets of clothing, a bullet per day, 3 of each of the spare parts, 821 pounds, and yeah, we need to buy some food or go hunting. Hardware Hacker says, you didn't look around. You've doomed us all. Oh, there we go. We're coming up on another fort. Excellent. B is lost. Lose 5 days. It's the second time B has gotten lost. All right. We'll look around. Buy supplies. 9. All right. We want to buy food. And we want to buy 1,000 pounds. And that is good. Mr. Tech Gadget says, somebody tie B to the wagon. Yeah. David says, leave B behind. Very snowy in October. Well, that's interesting. Blizzards in October. Uh-oh, we're snowbound. I knew we should have not left in July. I wonder if when you get to this river, if you get the option to skate across. We don't have time to look around. Jesse says if you're in the mountains, it's possible. We must cross the river. It's currently 1,014 feet across and 8 feet deep in the middle. All right, we're gonna try to float it across. That sounds like a wise choice. Ha! I was almost sure we were going to have a catastrophe. Oh, one of the oxens died. Well, we still have 17, I believe. Jack says, ha, that never works. Yes, seriously. Uh-oh. Nope. We don't have time because we need to get on the trail. Oh, look, we have grass. David says I would have hired an Indian. Yeah. Well, this is the possible bad decisions game. And it's working better than I thought it would. Impassable trail lose 10 days. Wow. All right. Because we tied B to the wagon, B managed to set the wagon on fire. I'm adding some stuff here. So, well, looks like we no longer have all the bullets I thought we did, but we lost 4 sets of clothing, 327 bullets, 3 wagon axles, and 3 wagon tongues. Ooh. Hardware Hacker says, never seen that before. We don't have time to look around. David Starbucks says, you are going to starve, you are welcome. We are going to head for the Dalles. Oh, also, I guess we missed Christmas in the game. Oh, well. Happy New Year. D has a broken leg. That's probably not good. Severe blizzard, lose 1 day. Another severe blizzard. All right. Rough trail, yeah, we know. Inadequate grass, yeah, we know. Oh no, we've just lost the second person of our party. Hardware Hacker says, Happy New Year, here's a blizzard for your trouble. B has measles. B has died. Well, alright. Impassable trail, lose 4 days. I don't think we have time to look around. We need to get to Oregon before we lose any more members of our party. We're going to take the toll road. Yes, we will pay $13.50 for the toll road. C has a broken leg. That's not a good sign. Very little water, despite the fact it looks like there's snow on the ground. Passable trail, lose 4 days. Great. Jesse says losing B was for the better. He was a liability. Who was left? A and C. And 16 oxen. Or 17 oxen. I think we still have 17 oxen. Well, we somehow made it to Oregon. Let's see how many points you've received. Like maybe 2 points. 2 people in fair health, 800 points. 1 wagon. Okay, 50 points for having the wagon. I wonder if you can make it to Oregon without the wagon. 17 oxen, 3 spare wagon parts, 7 sets of clothing, 38 bullets. We had 365 at one point. I didn't go hunting. We're left with 38 bullets. Thanks, Wagon Fire. You were the worst. 495 pounds of food, 210.50 in cash. 999 points. And I don't get any bonus points because the banker does not get bonus points. Yeah, B was the worst. B got lost on us. All right, so there we go. It's a ROM version 4 Apple IIc. I bought it back in March. Finally got around to testing it. Looks like it's working in good shape. Now, of course, the keyboard's great because these are I think these A2S4100s pretty much all use the Alps keyboard. The keyboard sounds and feels great. Probably some cleaning I could do, but anyways, so there we go. Apple IIc. Finally got to testing it, and it works. So, yeah. Jack says, always meant to get a 2C. Oh, Jack, we lost 3 members of our party. The Wagon Fire was the worst. I don't know what was the worst part of that trip. Probably me leaving in July. David Starbucks says, now I want to play Oregon Trail again. Yes. So, there we go. Apple IIc. And it looks like it is in good working shape. So, there we go. We have the Apple IIe that of mysteries. Yep, the Apple IIe of mysteries that I'm not going to use for its parts. The Apple IIc that works, even though I tested it 4 months late. Uh, 3.5 months. I think it was late March when I bought it. We got a couple goodies from Wheel of Regrets. The a ET case with a blue swoosh on it, so I'll have to build something special in it because I like the blue accent. The Comtrade case panel front. Don't know what I'll use it for. The IO shield that I eyeballed in the photo, and it actually was the correct one. And David says an IBM AT clone, sir. Ah. What you're gonna play Oregon Trail on? Oh, okay. Oh yeah, and we got the Memory Masters RAM. Yes, the Memory Masters RAM. So yeah, thanks to Gut Bomb for making the top meme, and of course I tacked on a second meme to the to the meme. So anyways, yeah, thanks Gut Bomb for that meme, letting me share it. Anyways, yeah, so I've got RAM for my my SE30, which means now I have 12 of my parity 4 MB sims back in the case here for systems that actually need parity RAM. And Dave of Dave's Vintage Apple Tech's gonna send me a Raminator, so we'll have at least another stream on the SE30 probably. And I need to send probably I'll send Dave the plastic parts of the case at some point to Retrobrite. So yeah, that'll be cool. Carter Hacker says great stream, and we didn't even flip our sink. Yeah, and I didn't knock over a box that's sitting on a box that you can't see, but I keep snagging it with my pants. So, oh, there was one other thing I was going to do if I could find it here real quick. All right, let me see here. I was going to do one last thing. I'm looking for the item. I'm trying to remember when I last used it. No, it's got to be on my workbench. I know it's got to be here. No, wait a minute. Oh, hold please. It is. Oh, did I leave it attached to something? Probably. All right. Please hold a moment while I try to figure out what I did with it because it is so totally getting its air tag here if I can find it. I think I left it attached to whatever I last used it on, so that's why I don't think I can find it. Hold on just one moment. There's it's not in there. There's that power supply. Cables. Oh, there's the toolkit I've been looking for. Okay, it's still attached to something. One more moment while I... Okay. Please continue to hold. The GoTech will return just as soon as it feels like it, apparently. Well, the thing is, I didn't attach the AirTag to the GoTech the other day because I didn't have anything to attach it with. And now that I have something to attach it with, I have managed to misplace it. Probably because it knows it's about to get an AirTag. So... Alright, so I guess we won't be putting an AirTag on it tonight. Because I have most certainly left it attached to whatever I was last using it with, and Mr. Tech Gadget says the GoTech got lost, lose 2 days. Yeah, exactly. That is that tracks. This really tracks. That totally on brand for me to. This is why I bought AirTag. And naive me thinking that Apple would include what you need to attach the AirTag to your things in the package. No. Nope. That's separate. Yeah, here I am. Picking things up that I might have accidentally set on top of the GoTech. I'm trying to remember when I last had it out. I was testing a motherboard for sure. And nope. There's the ribbon cables I got. Is it not still attached to one of these power supplies? No. Fun fact, my benches. Oh, there it is. I found it. I it was still attached to the power supply that I last used it on. All right, now, problem is I don't have much bench space, but all right, we are going to do this. Because I know myself, I am not going to stick it to the top or the bottom, but I am going to take the 3 screws out of it. Heck says epoxy that air tag on. Dave says stick the air tag on now. Yes, I want you all to know, because you all helped me get the air tags. There we go. We got the plastic top of the Gotek. I have the air tag in the holder backwards, so if it does fall, if the adhesive is worse than I fear, then hopefully it will fall plastic side down. So there we go. And there we go. Hardware Hacker says, found abandoned Gotek gained tagged equipment. There we go. The tag is now on the Gotek. So now I'm putting the lid back on. All right, it does appear as if it fits. All right, it would appear as if I did manage to randomly pick the correct spot in the case to put it. So now I am going to put the screws back in. Well, if I can feel the... All right, I'm having trouble feeling the threads in the plastic. There we go. David Starbucks says, B wandered off, find B with air tag. All right, that was not Cannibal Oregon Trail. Yeah, we'll do a beep test to make sure it's actually audible. Oh, whatever. Aren't the best screws anyways. All right, so we got the Gotek here. Now the AirTag is in the Gotek. I've put the screws on, so naturally, all right. So let me find the Find My app on my phone. Find My. All right. AirTag is not reachable. Oh, there we go. All right. I mean, okay, it makes a sound. You can hear it. So, yeah. I mean, it might be a bit muffled because I put it in. Jesse says AirTag is low on battery. I'm wondering if maybe I should have put it in the other way. In the holder. Let's see if it's... Because maybe I just managed to muffle it. Alright, maybe I'll just have to risk the if the adhesive fails. All right. I'll try the play the sound again. Your tag has died of dysentery. Funny. Actually, I think it was louder. I think it was louder when I had it in the case upside down. Yeah, for sure I'm going to have to replace the battery sooner, but Jesse says dysentery equals death by Duracell. Alright, so let's see how loud that was. Yeah, it's definitely louder when you put the AirTag in this way, because I think the speaker is on the plastic side. So we'll do that. And if I was really thinking, I would drill a hole or two in the case to help with the sound coming out. But that's a project for another day. All right. Anyways, we have the AirTag in the GoTech. So now when I manage to misplace it, I will be able to play the sound, either play the sound and find it, or use the Find My app to guide me to it, because my phone does support the enhanced location, so it can actually give me a distance. So there we go. So now I think I've done everything I needed to do for the stream, because the GoTech has the AirTag in it. So we'll do one last test. Yeah, I think that's certainly loud enough that I'll be able to find it if I misplace it. So there we go. AirTag is in the GoTech. Now, the one thing I probably should do well, if I can red, yellow, green. Oh, we use the green. All right. One thing I did want to do is write bench on this one. Because I do have more than one GoTech. And the last thing I need to do is install my bench GoTech in a computer, not realizing it's my bench GoTech. Then I might not be able to find it because I might not be able to hear the AirTag through a computer. Also, the case might act as a Faraday cage. Anyways, yes, it is getting late. I do need to end the stream, but I do at least want to set a few things now off of my bench now that I located the GoTech, because I don't want them to fall and break something. But anyways, there we go. Now I got them off my bench. All right. Apple IIe, Apple IIc, memory for the SE30, AirTag in the GoTech. I think that's a great stream. All right. Anyways, yeah, it's getting late, so don't forget to smash that like button if you like it when I buy weird things on eBay. Subscribe and turn on notifications. You might know in the future if I ever do manage to find a keyboard for the Apple IIe from Tom Barber. And yeah, and of course the SE30. There'll be at least another stream on that to put it back together. And we'll play Oregon Trail in the future. Hey, I've even got this power supply for computer that needs recapped. So I'll probably this weekend I'll get caps for it on order, or at least in a cart to order. Although, quite honestly, from the outside, I think it might be a clone of an Aztec power supply, so getting caps for it might not be too big of a deal. Jack says, Justin buys weird things on eBay, so I don't have to. So anyways, the stream successfully made it to Oregon, yes. All right, with that, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Next week, Monday and Thursday, Monday 8 p.m., Thursday 9 p.m. Monday, we will probably go back to the Gateway profile. Or that might be Thursday, because Joe bought a screen for it, and that screen should be in tomorrow. So we may look at that Monday, or the Atari on Monday. So I think next week, one will be the Gateway profile, because since that screen's come in, I want to get back to that, because I should have the caps too. And then the other one, we'll look at the Atari ST. In fact, we may do the Atari ST first. I really want to see that one powered up. And I do hope to see you on Sunday as well, Dave. So that might be when thank you, Hardware Hacker, for the $1.99 super chat. Yeep! More trail on other computers as tests. Yes. So with that, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thanks for joining me, hanging out, putting up with Wheel of Regrets, and well, enjoying some Apple II content. So, that, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Hope to see you here next time. Take care, and God bless. Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon, and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. Don't forget to smash that like button. And if you've liked what you've seen, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next video or live stream. And as always, thank you for all your support. I hope to see you next time. And until then, take care.